the fixer, right? She is one of the country's leading authorities on streamlining businesses to maximize profit. She graduated top of her class in engineering school, and in her Master of Engineering Management program, she holds a number of certifications, including a Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, which means, you know, she optimizes everything. She's helped top institutions transform their teams and revamp processes. She's written and delivered courses for top institutions like Harvard University. And so when you knowing when and how to scale your business can be overwhelming, and most businesses just aren't prepared. She teaches us how to simplify our business, automate our workday, including automating that personal touch. So whether you need to cut costs, generate more revenue, or just rip up your to-do list, she teaches you the steps to become more productive and more profitable. Melanie, we're so glad that you're here.
Oh, thanks for having me.
The fixer.
I'm always excited to be here with you two ladies and everybody else that has joined us today.
All right, so we're going to run this more like interview style, kind of just get to know Melanie a little better and have fun with her. So Melanie, let's talk about what your superpower is. I know we talked a lot about optimizing, automation, and of course problem solving, but let's talk about what your unique superpower is.
So officially, I like to say that I make technology accessible. Over the course of my career, I learned how to take geek speak and turn it into human speak. So a lot of my clients in corporate would come to me with these ideas and say, is it possible to do X? Is it possible to do Y? And then, you know, I would talk to them about whether or not that's possible, but then also help them to dream even bigger. So, you know, a lot of times people have these brilliant ideas, but they don't know how to bring them into reality. They don't know how to make that technically feasible. So I like to make technology accessible to people by, you know, bringing the human back into technology and bringing the human speak back into technology.
The human speak, right? Because I think a lot of us are afraid of it, right? Like, I mean, even like when it works, it's great, but when it's not working, we absolutely freak out. And I think that's how you got the nickname, the fixer, right? Because it's not working, and when it's not working, we are completely paralyzed. How do you become just so comfortable with the idea of going in and not being worried that you're going to break it?
I mean, it's like anything in life, right? You have confidence in yourself, and the more you do it, the more confidence you have. So something not working or going your way is always going to be stressful, but you just take a deep breath and think, I got this. And then you go through your laundry list of possible ways to fix the problem. So an example is I was on the Chaz show, and all of Florida, the electricity went out. So we all know technology doesn't work when you don't have electricity. And I was on his show live. And so I needed to get back on live. And I didn't have any electricity. So you think, okay, what are you going to do in that situation? And for me, it was even a freak out moment because I had this moment of, oh crap, without electricity, like there is no technology. But then I realized, well, my phone doesn't need electricity. So I downloaded the app that he was using to bring me on his show onto my phone. And I went back up on live. And I think it took a total of 5 minutes. And he just filled the air with his own juicy stories. So you just have to have confidence in yourself and your ability to solve the problem.
You said you have a laundry list, like of things that you go through, right? Like, is it plugged in? Is it turned on? Like, what are some of those things that you, I don't know, that you just like, where do you start? Because I'm like, it didn't work, turn it off.
I mean, how many times has your cable not worked and you call the cable company and you're like, yes, I turned my machine off and on. Yes, I unplugged it and waited 15 seconds. Like, we all know the few things that fix these.
Is the power
problems.
on? Yes, the power is turned on.
But sometimes it's not. Isn't that funny how it's like sometimes it's not turned on, or you don't have the volume up. Like it really, a lot of times it is operator error. Or, I mean, how often? I guess I should ask you, how often is it operator error, Melanie?
It's about 80% of the time, which is why we say automate things. So when you want something to work, you first build it, right? You first create the idea of what you want, then you build it, and then you perfect it, and then you automate it. And the reason why you go through it in this equation, or in this order rather, is because you don't want to spend all this time building out all this infrastructure and technology if you don't know that people are going to want it, you don't know if it's going to work, and you don't even know if it's the right solution for you. So I think you say it all the time of like market research, you know, have them come before you build it, so that way you know that they want it. And that's true in technology too, is we build it after we've proved that this is what we want, but then we systematize it so we take the human error out of the equation.
Okay, so we're all so dependent on technology. Like everything has shifted, everything is pivoted for how we're building our businesses, how like everything is different because we're not physically in front of people like we used to be. What are some opportunities that we can be taking advantage of right now to scale and optimize and automate?
Well, client interaction. So one thing that I get all the time is, you know, technology disconnects me from people, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that Tina even said it earlier today, is that if you send people a card, it's more connected, right, than an email. And that's true. But Tina will also be the first one to tell you that that process that she uses to send cards is automated. So she's using automation to deliver the personal touch. So you don't have to remove the personal touch from the equation just because you're using technology to give yourself time back.
Oh, say that again. That was like juicy. I got to write that down.
That was a mic drop.
That really was.
We need to buy Melanie a mic. I don't know if she'll use it, but we need to buy her a mic so she can do her mic drop. That was a hashtag Melanie nugget.
Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I said you don't have to remove the personal touch from the equation just because you're using technology.
And I think that a lot of people feel like that. Well, if I automate it, yeah, then I'm losing that personal touch. But it's actually the contrary. You're ensuring that personal touch in cases where you're busy or technology doesn't work, or you're on vacation and you're with other clients or whatever, right? You ensure it more than you're eliminating it. Okay, so you don't have to.
And one other.
Go ahead.
One other way for this, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. One other way to do this is you just take a little bit of time up front, survey your clients to get a little bit of information about them. And you can do this in a consultation or one-on-one interaction, or you can do it through a survey. But you just get a little bit about them, or maybe you learn this over time. And then sales copy is sales copy. It's the same for everybody, but we tweak it a little bit by using variables and things that are specific to what we're doing. And that personalizes it to both the thing that we're doing as well as the person you're sending it to. So for example, if you knew somebody's birthday, you would say, hey, I know your birthday is coming up next month. Let's celebrate blah, blah, blah. Or you could even send them a card. If you knew their favorite color was purple, you could tell your system to set the background of this email to purple or the titles to purple so that they feel more engaged with the email. So even though sales copy is sales copy and it's the same for most things that you're doing, you can tweak it to be personalized to each specific client without writing individual emails.
I think that you are just like hitting the nail on the head for all of us, Melanie, right? Because there are things that we can do. Instead of sitting there going, well, it can't be done and we can't, you are always trying to figure out like, how can I and what can we do to make that even better. And I think that's part of why your clients just absolutely adore you. Now you also talked about a little bit about, what was the phrase, like the visionaries and the implementers. What's the difference in a visionary and an implementer?
So a visionary is somebody who comes up with ideas rapid fire. So they're that person that's always like, well, what about this? Or what if we did this? Or what if we did this? Or how about this? Or how about we do this? Or how about this? And then the doers are the people who are like, slow your roll, right? Like, I need to finish A before I start working on B through Z. And so for the visionaries, this time is really a great time because you're isolated, you have focus time. It's a time when people are feeling limited in what they can do. So you can find all these ideas to help people through this dark time, if you will. The implementers find this kind of time a little bit more difficult. While the beginning of it, they could have been super excited to be in this time because they're like, yeah, I have time to actually finish my projects. Once they've finished those projects, they might have been thinking to themselves, oh, how do I work on something new? I don't have that perfect idea to roll out, that fresh new thing to market. And so they might struggle with what to create. And yesterday I was actually having dinner with my parents, and it was 98 degrees here in Florida. And I went on a bike ride. It was a 90-minute bike ride, and by the time I was done, I was in heat exhaustion. So I just like jumped into an ice bath. It was so hot. And so my mom, who's an avid gardener, I said to her, oh, I need a cooling headband to go on my forehead to, keep the sweat from going in my eyes and to keep me cool. Because, if you put a regular headband on, it makes you even hotter, right? And it just doesn't work for me. And so she was like, oh yeah, I need that for gardening because, it's just like in your face and blah, blah, blah. And I thought to myself, how many times has this happened to me where I come up with an idea for one thing and people want to use it for something else, right? And I think that's something that implementers need to key in on, is as a project manager or as somebody who has spent their life focused on finishing projects, you already know how to fix problems. You already know how to bring a team together. You already know how to avoid risk. These are all creative solutions that you've created for yourself to ensure that you have a successful project. And these are all things that could be solutions or products or services out in the world that somebody else will find valuable, right? So how many times have you been like, oh, I MacGyvered this, and somebody's like, that's genius, I need to do that, And so people need to realize that you don't always have to be first out to market. You just have to be better. So take a problem that you have, or take a solution that's in the world that just doesn't quite make the mark, and fix it, make it better, and put that to market. This is one of Steve Jobs' famous quotes.
You don't have to be first. You just have to be better.
Better.
Can you give me an example of something you've seen that they weren't first, but they made better?
Well, I mean, Netflix wasn't first delivering videos. Uber wasn't first to be the first taxi on the market, right? These are all disruptions, and disruption is just a way of reinventing a product that already exists on the market.
Yes, right. And all of them are using automation and technology to make it better. Oh my gosh, absolutely. Okay, so Melanie, I know, right? We were all in this panic. What are some of the things that, like, when you think about that laundry list of, is it on, is it plugged in, is it turned on, that when people come to you, that you're like, do you have this and do you have this for scaling and automating? What are some, like, turned on and plugged in things that we should all have in our business?
Well, you should first and foremost have a database to put your leads in, or your clients in, or both rather. So anybody that you're interacting with, anybody. So whether it's promoters that you're speaking at their events, whether it's other speakers that you're learning from, whether it's prospects that you're hoping to turn into clients, whether it's current clients, all of these are people that you're networking with, and you should have a way to maintain this list of people so that you can keep track of them, where you are in your communication with them, what you've done together, when was the last time you talked to them, make sure that you're following up with them, so on and so forth. And a lot of people do this through Excel. And that is very manual because it doesn't talk to anything else. So you can't use it to automate your email system, and you can't use it to promote your courses or your products or your services or your membership systems or whatever. So I like to recommend a product called HubSpot. It's completely free. It will always be free. You can buy add-ons, but you don't really need to. And that way you have a way to store everybody you're networking with. They even have a cool little app that allows you to scan business cards, to make it easier when you're networking, to get people's contact information into your database. It even takes a picture of the business card. So when you're like, I don't remember who this person is, you could look at their business card and be like, oh yeah, I remember. You can have it automatically tag from what location you met them at, like what event you were at when you did that. So that's first and foremost, you should have that. And then you should always be ready for success when it comes. And the way to do that is to have a way to capture people that want to work with you. So Angel takes care of getting you exposure, and we like to say exposure to closure. So, you know, once you get this exposure, you're on a stage, you have a book, you're networking, you have a website even, you need a way for people to say, yes, I want more information, I want to learn more about you, that doesn't actually physically cost them money, because people don't want to pay to get to know you. And so if you don't have this set up, or if it's hard for them to do, they're going to find somebody else that does what you do, because people don't like to spend extra time or money for things that they need. So if you don't make it available, and if you don't make it easy to do, they're going to go find somebody else that will. So those are the two main things. And then, like Tina told you earlier, and also Ginny, is you want to keep these people engaged with you, because the more they get to know you, the more they'll want to get to know you. So it's a never-ending cycle here, and the more likely they are to spend more with you or recommend you.
Okay, so I just typed it in. I don't know if I used the right words, but the number one was to create a database, like an online database where you're collecting all of your contact information, whether that's a client, a prospect, a VIP, even in any relationship. So yeah, the email list is the first thing to have, but online, not in an Excel spreadsheet, because it doesn't speak to any of these automated tools, right? It's only you have access to it. Your staff, your VA doesn't have access to it, and you can't, everything's manual, right? Did I do that? Was that a good recap?
Yep.
And then the second one is to have a way to get people to opt in to that database. Yep. We call it like your call to action or your squeeze page, right? Yep. And then to automate the never-ending follow-up, right? Yep. Yeah? Yep. So Paige says, is the email list the first thing to have? That was her question.
Yeah, so email lists are good for so many things. You know, Angel might talk about this later. If you want to speak on an event and you don't want to pay to speak there, and you want to sell, or you want to give an opt-in, the only way that you can get yourself on that stage without paying money is to have a list, is to prove that you can get butts in the seats. And so if you don't have a way to prove that you're an influencer, which is, you know, somebody with a list, somebody who can influence others to go to follow them somewhere, then you're going to have to pay to be on that stage. So having a list is the single easiest way to open doors for yourself and to make yourself money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you've got in certain stages have they'll want to know what is the size of your list, not your followers on social media. That's separate. So even if you have an online followers, or even if you have a group, right? Maybe you've got a group and it has X numbers, they still want to know what is the size of your email, of your
My 66,000 followers on Pinterest won't count?
It doesn't. Not to be invited to speak on stages. So Melanie is right. So I mean, you guys all have a database. Like, how many people are on your email list, not following you on social, but type in, like, how many people do you have in an online list? That number in and of itself could get you invited to speak on what we call OPP, other people's platforms. And then Melanie, for getting people to automatically opt in to that, I know Tina talked a little bit about banner season. They have a way that people can opt in, and they can start to build a database, an email list, and automate it there. What are some things that you recommend for getting people to automatically opt into your email list?
So you need to give them something for free. And it needs to be something that they actually care about, that they would want to have. So a lot of times people will come to me and they'll have a free giveaway that's like, buy my product. And I'm like, that's not a free giveaway. Or it's a laundry list of like, fill out this survey so you can buy my product. And I'm like, that's not a free product. That's ways people can give you money. So it needs to be truly about them, right? We're in a world where what's in it for me? And so you need to put on your client's shoes and say, if I was on the receiving end, would I want this? Right? Would I give away my email address or my phone number for this? Now, keep in mind, everybody knows, we're all hip to the secret that as soon as you give your email address or phone number, you are going to get communications, and potentially lots of them. So people don't want to give this away unless they're going to get something in return that's valuable to them. So ask yourself, would I get hounded for this information? And you have to take away the pride out of the equation, right? Because we all create the best stuff on the planet. It's all amazing. It's all wonderful. Everybody wants it, right? But at the end of the day, that might not be the case with your free download. So needs to have a catchy title, needs to give away either what's the hell on earth you're solving for them, or what's the utopia you're bringing them to. So the utopia is imagine XYZ, right? And the hell on earth is, would you like to XYZ? So it needs to have those kinds of things up front and center so that people know when I give my email address, this is what I'm going to get in return.
So Paige was asking about price ranges for VAs. Melanie and I know we have a resource that does VA packages, but then I thought, well, do you do that part for them too? Like, do you put all of that in a list for them? So Paige, it might be a good idea to go into the breakout room and have this conversation with Melanie on seeing, you know, I don't want to step, I hope I didn't step on her toes and say, oh, go buy this VA service when she does this for you. So go and talk to Melanie, because there may be something that she does in-house for you. And I know she's got a great collaboration. Melanie has all the tools. Melanie has all the affiliates. She has all the resources. If you're wanting to do your text mobile opt-ins, if you're wanting CRM systems, database systems, automating your follow-up, like Melanie has all the tools and all the resources. And so make sure that you go. Somebody says, what service is recommended to automate those follow-up emails? Those are things, go into the breakout room and have that conversation with Melanie about your specific needs, because I imagine she has some qualifying questions she would want to ask you before recommending which platform is the best for you, because there's a lot of variables to that. But Melanie, do you have something you want to give away? Do you have a way you want people to connect with you?
Yeah, I just want to follow up on the point you were just making, though, is that, and I think you'll probably talk about this later, is when you're in business, you have your upstream and your downstream. So you create problems for people. And I know we all want to think that we solve problems for people, but we also create problems for people. So the reason why Angel and I make such a good partnership is because the problem she creates is the problem I solve. And so, so she can recommend people to me. So what we mean by that is she creates exposure. And if you don't have a way to capture that exposure, then that's lost success. Like you're just missing out on opportunities on revenue. And so I create the ability to capture that. And so the reason why I have so many affiliates and so many partnerships is because when you start to put technology in place, when you start to automate, you literally find millions of problems. And so I've started to plug all these holes for people by creating all of these affiliates and all of these partnerships and incorporating all of these different products. And so I just wanted to mention that. But yes, I do have a free gift. The easiest way to get it is to text automate, AUTOMATE, to 26786. So that's 26786, and you just text the word automate to that number. And if you've already texted automate to 26786 in the past for previous Connect Summits, you can retext to get additional gifts. So it's not the same gift. So what you will get is a free ticket to my Sales Automation 101 Masterclass, which I'm running on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. You also get, I think, $150 off of my lead capturing bootcamp. And in this bootcamp, I actually call it a Hack-a-Summit, We sit down and we build your lead capturing system on the spot. So it's a 3-hour summit where we build it on the spot. So you walk away with your ability to capture all that exposure. And I also give you a month free of software for doing this lead capture stuff. And finally, I'm giving you a consultation. So as a bonus. So all of that comes when you text automate to 26786.
Awesome. 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 You're so awesome. Okay, let's give some